feel like you're being pulled in 1,000 directions? Let's fix that. Download your free rebalancing toolkit and learn how to design an optimized week that lets you feel like you have it all. Get the goods at brilliantbalance.net/have-it-all.
I'm Cherylanne Skolnicki, and this is Brilliant Balance, the show for working women who are ready to shine. Each week, I bring you ideas, inspiration, and insight on balance, business, and getting it all done gracefully. You ready? Let's be brilliant. Hello, you are listening to episode 28 of the Brilliant Balance podcast. And here we are heading into Mother's Day week. It's almost time for cards and flowers and breakfast in bed, or in my case, church and brunch, which has become our annual Mother's Day tradition and one I am very, very fond of. We had to learn that Mother's Day brunch reservations need to be made well in advance, or you can find yourself waiting hours and hours outside of your favorite restaurant, which we have done a couple of times. We are not the fastest learners on this front, apparently. And that really has been our tradition. It's one that I love, except for that one year that we were at a soccer tournament all weekend long out of town. And we had Mother's Day breakfast at a Tim Hortons very, very early in the morning. And as I recall, it was so sweet that my husband and my daughter, who were the only two with me for that weekend, really made it a point that we got the opportunity to celebrate in some small way before we spent the rest of the day on the soccer fields. And her coach even had all the girls give their moms these team t-shirts and flowers because they were, very aware that we had surrendered our day in the name of soccer. So you do what you have to do, right? When you're altering these traditions, but when you can really script it exactly the way you want, it's pretty awesome. And I've learned over the years of working with women that everybody has a tradition that feels exactly right to them. There's sort of different ways of celebrating this holiday, and I hope that you get yours exactly the way that you want it. It really is connected to what I wanted to talk about today, and that is the card that I hope you will get for Mother's Day. This holiday almost always has us in the card aisle trying to find the perfect card. For our mother, for a grandmother, for our mother-in-law, for a special woman in our life that's played that mothering role. And a few years ago, I really started to realize that there were precious few cards in that aisle that would speak to me and to the kind of mother that I was aspiring to be. If you think about it, what the cards in the Mother's Day aisle almost universally thank mothers for or celebrate mothers for being fall into one of two camps. There is the historical view of motherhood, which is the gracious, sacrificial, hardworking mother, and you'll see, thank you for sacrificing everything for me. Thank you for always putting yourself last. Thank you for being the invisible person behind the scenes. Or it'll talk about all the housework that gets done and how they cleaned up after everyone and, took the last crust of bread instead of the good piece of bread. Like it's this whole diminished, sacrificing mother that I think really is a pretty historical view of motherhood. And then the other side of the coin is this contemporary view of motherhood, but one that I'm not sure we really want to aspire to. And it's sort of this hot mess mom. It's this woman who's running around and she's crazy all the time and, she never sits down and she's just hoping to make it from her morning coffee to her nightly wine. And I think not only do we see this reflected in Mother's Day cards, but really a lot of social media and the memes that are coming at us in Instagram and Facebook and other platforms. It's become the iconic modern mother is sort of this hot mess. And it just makes me wonder, is this really who we want to be? Either of those two polar extremes of motherhood, does that really resonate with us? It does not with me, I know. And as I started talking about this with some of the women that I coach, I asked them, what would you want to get in a Mother's Day card? If you wrote the card you really wanted to receive, what would it say? And they said really different things than what most of the Hallmark version in the card aisle said. They said things like, thank you for showing me what's possible. Thank you for teaching me about life choices. Thank you for setting an example for me. They wanted to hear about having shared wisdom or having given their children space to be courageous and to try things. Some of them talked about wanting to be remembered for engaging in service together and creating a service orientation or demonstrating a certain set of values with consistency, maybe generosity or compassion. I heard a lot about this notion of being a role model and showing me what's possible by doing, what's possible by following your own dream. You showed me that I could follow mine. That is a really different card than what most of us are seeing in the card aisle. And I would challenge you as you're out this week, maybe shopping for a card for someone in your life, just see if you see what I mean about these two camps of the historical view of motherhood and then this kind of hot mess contemporary view.
Feel like you're being pulled in 1,000 directions? Let's fix that. Download your free rebalancing toolkit and learn how to design an optimized week that lets you feel like you have it all. Get the goods at brilliantbalance.net/have-it-all.
And as you're navigating that aisle, I would invite you to consider, what would you like to see in the ideal Mother's Day card if someone were writing it to you? And if you're not a mother, maybe it's in a birthday card, right? Or a thank you card. What would you want people to say to you? What do you want to be honored for having contributed? Because that question, how do you want to be remembered or how do you want to be thanked, really speaks to questions of legacy. And I've spent a lot of time thinking about that over the last several years. It probably started after one of these card shopping adventures, truth be told. And I wrote a short list of things I wanted my children to feel about the experience of having me as their mother. Sort of, what did I want to demonstrate to them? What did I want to teach? What did I want to impart in this chapter of parenting? So, life is long and this will evolve over time. But, say within the current year, I wrote these statements of, what do I really want to be teaching right now? And it's different for each child. I have 3 children. They're very different. They have different sets of gifts. They have different challenges. They have different things they're working to work through or to overcome. And so my statements that I wrote were unique to each child. And I added those statements to a document. It's one that I read every single day, has other things on it besides these statements about the children. But it put that intention in front of me every single day. And then very recently, something pretty cool happened. My 13-year-old daughter wrote me a card at Valentine's Day. And in it, one of the statements that she wrote was this: I am a more confident and decisive person because of your strong presence. And I love having you as my mom. So first of all, yes, I will probably frame this or find a way to, memorialize this for myself, because guess what? Her words in that card matched almost exactly the words that I had written as my intention for what I wanted to be imparting to her. And to me, it was such a moment. It was a reflection that is the power of aligning your actions with your intentions, of showing up the way you intend to show up. And it's a consistency game. Legacies are built through consistent action. It's not the one big thing that we do one day. It's the pattern of behavior. It's the consistency of what we are choosing to teach, the conversations we're choosing to have, what we're choosing to impart. And we're not going to get it right 100% of the time. But when you do, when you get a moment back like that demonstrates to you that it's happening, that what you are attempting to put out into the world is being reflected back to you, it is extraordinarily powerful. So as you head into this Mother's Day week, I would just invite you to think about, what would you want your card to say? maybe even write it down. Take the time to commit it to paper, to really play with the words and get them exactly right for you. And give it your full attention. Contemplate, how do you want to show up for your children? What do you want to teach? What are the experiences that you want to have? What do you want to be a model for that they can follow? And let me caution you, because this can happen. This is not an invitation to be hypercritical, where you write down a litany of all the things you're getting wrong. And you might find that you're tempted to do that, because when it comes to motherhood, we are hypercritical of ourselves, okay? It's just an invitation to be honest with yourself about what you really want to impart, how you really want to show up. And the great thing about doing an exercise like this is that you have all the time in the world to make adjustments so that you can bring your actions in alignment with those intentions, right? You don't have to wave a magic wand and get there overnight. You can day by day be better and better, be closer and closer to showing up in the way that you really want to. And those statements that you write will be glimpses of the legacy that you want to build through your children, how you want to be seen by them, how you want to be understood by them, how you want to be remembered by them. So when you write those statements, I want you to look at what you've written and really ask yourself, am I on track? If I'm not, what changes would I want to make to get on track, to bring my actions in alignment with this intention? And then begin. And as you make those changes, keep that collection of words in front of you as you go throughout this year. Because when next Mother's Day comes around, you may find that you're surprised when you receive a card or a letter or a phone call that reflects exactly what you had hoped to hear. It's a pretty powerful moment when it happens, and it's one that I wish for you. So happy Mother's Day to you. I hope that you spend this day honoring this incredible relationship and really celebrating the mother that you are becoming, because we truly can all be better every single day. I'm going to leave it at that for this week. We'll keep this one short and sweet. And as you go through this week and we head toward Mother's Day, I hope you have a wonderful celebration. Between now and then, come find me on Facebook in the Brilliant Balance group, and let's be brilliant.
This is thepodcastfactory.com.